But yeah, that thing is alive and well.
Wow.
Caesar's our dough master over here. He's getting his water temps now, so 70.7. That's what he was taking the temp of the starter.
Like, is it exact, or do you look at it and you're like, that needs a little bit more flour?
No, it's never a pinch or punch of that. Everything's measured out and weighed out properly, yeah.
Most people open a pizzeria and think they'll just sling a few pizzas, call it a day. Not Troy. He builds dough like an engineer, tracking ambient temps, water weight, even the flour off the truck. 4 distinct styles at Blue Square Pizza: New York, Detroit, cracker thin, grandma, built off one living, breathing starter. And that spiral mix is $35,000 that you're gonna see in this video. This is a well-oiled machine. Efficiency isn't just a bonus, it's survival. There's no dining room, no wasted motion, just serious pizza made by serious people. And Troy takes it very seriously. He's gonna show us around the whole operation of his second location of Blue Square Pizza and show you everything. He's not hiding everything. He gives you all the numbers and how he does every single thing. So let's get into this Pizzeria Insider video right now.
Troy, thanks for having me, Blue Square Pizza.
Yeah, my pleasure.
We went to your original Hopkinton location. That was your first Blue Square concept. You've taken everything you've learned from that one, and now I know what I would want to do differently or how a setup would be, so that's what you've done here.
Yeah. Exactly.
Just pizza here?
Yeah, pizza, wing, salad, same menu.
Nice.
Yep.
And describe the concept for people who haven't seen that video.
Yeah, so off-premise focused, and sourdough is really kind of what our position is, I would say, in the market. We offer 4 styles on that one single sourdough base. So we do a New York style, a Detroit style, which is essentially our signature. That's where the name comes from. We do a Chicago cracker thin, and we do a grandma style as well.
That's great. I think when we went to Hopkinton, you were just starting the concept of the cracker thing.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was on the menu yet.
Yeah, I brought that in a little later, probably about a year later after I opened over there. So yeah, now it's a staple. It's doing really well.
It seems like a hot trend right now.
Yeah, so tavern style, or I call it Chicago cracker thin.
Yeah, that's
you see a lot of people doing it. I actually picked it up from Tony Gemignani.
Okay.
I was in one of his classes, and when you get into a class with a guy like that, you go there and pummeling with questions, and so I wanted to know kind of what are you seeing, what's the trend, what's the movement, and he offers so many different styles. Like, what in your product mix, what are you seeing moving up every month or increasing? And he said tavern style is really starting to take off. So I actually learned how to do that from him in that class, and then I brought it back immediately and started working on my own iterations.
Do people call that bar pizza?
I think so. If you're from Massachusetts, probably not, because bar pie is completely different.
Yeah, bar pie to people here, South Shore bar pie is it cooked in a pan, 8 to 10 inches.
Yeah,
it's like a personal pizza.
Yeah,
but people out west, bar pizza is more the Chicago cracker thin, right?
Right. Yeah. I think like colloquially, I think like a native Chicagoan, they call it just like Chicago thin, or like
that's the pizza they eat.
Yeah, I think like attaching the names to it is like something that happens later by other people observing the style. So. Is
it hard to do 4 different styles of pizza?
It is. Especially there's labor involved in each style. It's a lot of labor. Doing pans in general is time consuming. It takes a lot of people in the morning to get them ready. Because we use sourdough. I mean, commercial yeast, you can like in an hour after pressing out, they're ready to par bake. But I use proofers here, and it still takes about 3 hours.
Wow.
So we're in here at 7. We'll probably start pressing by 7:45. We let the dough warm a little bit. And then, we've got them in the proofer anywhere between 8 and 9, 9:30, depending on the day. And it's like, we got to try to get them par baked before we open. Doesn't usually happen. We do a second round around 1:30, 2 o'clock.
Okay. Can we take a look around?
Yeah.
Did you train people at the other location and bring them here?
So I came over here with myself and like 3 very well-trained people. And then everybody else is pretty green. And still training, but learning. Because
you've only been open for a couple weeks now, right?
Yeah. And, it's busy. So there's this you have to learn quick, you know? So not everyone makes a team. Like the first month is essentially it's tryouts essentially.
Right.
So I came over here and utilized a different mixer, completely different production process than over in Hopkinton. So there was a learning curve for that as well. That was a humbling experience.
What's the mixer you have here?
It's a spiral.
And over there you have a whole bar, right?
It's huge, yeah.
What's the name? What, can I see it?
Yeah. Caesar's our dough master here. We're actually bulking here, so I'll put them in bins here as well. We do 1 stretch and fold just to distribute the heat, so it ferments at the same rate.
Wow, that's a huge mixer. That's ginormous.
Yeah, come on back. This thing, so this is one of the very few mixers that I could find that has a detachable bowl. So this is going to be a commissary for my subsequent locations, a commissary. And so we do an auto lease, which is resting time, right? And so instead of like having to waste a half hour doing nothing, I'll get another bowl and we'll get the 2 bowls ready and we'll mix kind of like, successfully or sequentially one after another. And so this thing does 4 batches at a time.
So 200 pounds of flour.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm doing, that's 200 pounds of flour plus I'm at 64% hydration. So it's like almost 400 pounds.
That's crazy.
Of ingredients in this thing.
How many dough balls how many pizzas will this, like one batch for you make?
I don't know. It's 93.4 pounds per batch. And I have large and small New York, large and small Detroit. I have a 16-ounce Chicago, a 22-ounce grandma. So it really depends on the day and the size, the size of the dough ball.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you're going to use this as the commissary for how many locations? Like, what's your goal?
I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, I say I want to expand and have a lot, but when I go through an opening, I say it's the last one. It's like I haven't had a day off since June 17th. It's like 14-hour days every single day. And there's a lot of problems to solve. You think you have it figured out. You come in, this environment was cold, so everything's brand new. There's a brand new build out.
AC, what was this building before?
It was a Texas barbecue place, but the investor that bought the building was going to do like a drive-through sandwich ice cream concept.
All right.
So he did work on it. He stripped everything out. I'm talking like there was just concrete walls and the leaky roof. He stripped the floors, insulation, the wiring, the plumbing, everything was stripped out of here. And so I essentially had to rebuild it all the infrastructure. And he put a lot of money into it. That's part of the deal. And it's just going to cost way too much to try to do it myself. So he chipped in a lot. But the HVAC works so well in here. Like my temp's like 72, 74 degrees in
all
here.
The time.
Even with these like 95-degree days. So in Hopkinton, it's always like 90, 95. So my DDT over there, my final dough temp is like 73.
Wow. What do you want it to be?
I want it to be whatever the environment allows it to be. Here, I have to go 83 degrees. So I had to figure it out here because I was doing a 3-hour. I started with a 1-hour bench rest at like 74 degrees, and the dough wouldn't even rise afterwards. Like you ball it, and it's like it didn't perform at all. So it took me a week in here after I could have potentially opened to figure out like what's the dough.
So what was when you say it took you a week? What did you make this? You didn't make this big a batch.
Oh yeah.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
What did you do with all the dough?
2,000 pounds of dough. First time I did it, I thought I was going to open, so I did 4 batches, and I'm like, okay, ready to go, and we're like pressing Detroit's. I was like, they were in here like for 8 hours like that day. Like,
what'd you do with all the pizzas and dough?
I had to toss them.
Oh really?
I tossed them.
Sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I threw so much dough away. It was ridiculous. So then I started scaling it down to like 1 batch.
Right.
Testing. And I got a little smarter as it went on, and then had to figure the process out. So what I ended up having to do here, because of the low temp, is go super high on my final dough temp. We're between 81 and 83 right now, and then a 3-hour room temp bulk, and then we're going to divide and scale. I had to increase the sourdough yeast to 25%, so I'm only at 15% Hopkinton.
Okay.
So I needed a lot of help, high temps and more yeast to get this dough from.
So it's sourdough and yeast? Sourdough?
No, it's all sourdough.
All sourdough,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
First of all, how much does this machine cost?
That was like 35 grand.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a huge ass machine.
Yeah, it's expensive, yeah.
So the process is you start the dough in here, put it into the bins to bulk, ferment for 3 hours.
3 hours, yeah.
And then you roll it.
Yeah, and then we're gonna divide and scale.
And then it goes right into the cooler?
Yep, divide and scale, balls go into the cooler, and then we don't touch it for 3 days. So that was the other thing, is I was hoping for a 2-day dough program here, and I maximize flavor in Hopkinton under those conditions at 48 hours.
Because it's warmer?
Yeah, warmer. So it's like, we're trying to keep temps down over there. So it's just like a more humid. This dough, for some reason, my recipe loves high humidity.
Okay.
The best flavor that I always get is in the summertime.
Really?
Crust.
That's interesting.
Over there.
Yeah, I love humidity too. It's like it must be in New England that you get sick in the winter. You love humidity.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. So humidity works for us, but
that's great.
So yeah, and then we bang it out. So this is just like dedicated dough area here. These guys can work while we're making pies over there. They're usually done before 4 though.
Yeah. How many pizzas are you making a day here?
It depends on the day, but I'm doing like 2,200 a week here. So 500 right now on a Friday and a Saturday.
Oh, mix of them all.
Yeah, they're all the product mix. I mean, and the product mix hasn't changed. I'm at like 40% New York, 40% Detroit, like 11% Chicago. Grandma's anywhere between 4 and 6, and gluten-free fills a gap. Usually gluten-free is around 3%. Hey, from a local mill in Massachusetts. It's a Glen strain of bread flour.
And you mix them?
Yeah, so this I just used for my starter. So this is like high nutrient content flour. It's stone ground. Pretty high extraction rate set for bread flour. It's at like 76%. They work with me. They milled this to my spec. So we started from at 83% and we kept toning it down to kind of, so it didn't overpower my flavor. I don't want like a weedy pizza dough.
Right.
So that you have to be careful with that.
Is it the same starter you started with?
Yeah.
It hasn't died yet, or I haven't had?
No, it was the first one I ever grew, and it's still going. Like right before it goes into the mixer, we feed it with the red rose in the morning.
Okay.
So 7 a.m. we'll feed with that, but then we feed the backup with the ground up. We'll feed at night with the ground up.
Is that it right there?
So he's gonna do a 2 batch right now. So we mark everything, so when it doubles in size, we're ready to go. But yeah, that thing's alive and well.
Wow.
Caesar's our dough master over here.
Caesar.
It's his first week with me. I lost my other guy. He had to go to Florida suddenly, and this guy learned the process in 3 days.
Really? Well, you document everything. I think last time too we showed.
He's looking at my tablet.
Yeah.
That's become way more advanced now.
Is it really?
Yeah.
What's advanced about it?
I just think it's simpler. I break it down so that anybody can read it and understand it. So we have we're getting our temps every day. So here he's getting his water temps now. So 70.7. That's what he was taking the temp of the starter. So Levain's at 76 right now. The flour is 71.1. The room's at 72.1. So we're gonna do a 70.7 water temp for the second batch.
Oh, so you take the temp of everything, and then the water temp is determined by a calculation of everything else.
Yeah. So as long as so that's the formula. As long as they just touch the gray, and it'll automatically tell them the water temp, and then he just goes over there and dials it in.
So can anybody kind of make dough and figure out pretty easily?
Yeah. You just there's some things that you have to pay attention to. Like
is it exact, or do you look at it and you're like, that leaves a little bit more flour?
No, it's exact.
It's exact.
Never a pinch or punch of that. Okay. Everything's measured out and weighed out properly. Yeah. The only variable that we have to watch is when flour comes in off the truck and it's cold, it skews the formula, because it's like the flour is so much of the weighted average that the formula is telling us we need like 80-degree water. And I know if we use 80-degree water, that dough is going to come out like 87, 88 degrees. It's going to be a problem. So that happened on Monday. He sent me the picture of the tablet. It was his first day alone. I'm like 76-degree water. I'm like, that's not right. And I looked at the flour temp. It was like 59. I'm like, do you have another bag of flour in there? They're like, room temp? He's like, oh yeah, the old stuff's here. I'm like, always use the, if it's not room temp, it'll always work. But you have to know, like, that's gonna skew that formula a little bit. It just comes out a little too warm. For some reason, it's like, it's a good frame of reference and it works like 90% of the time, but you have to pay attention for things like that. I have the Levain math. So the starter is 3.33 pounds, flour 3.33 pounds, water 3.33 pounds.
So the only thing in your dough is flour, the starter, water, salt, olive oil.
Yeah. So it's really easy.
That's great.
It's just like broken down. So anyone can do it. Yes.
I love that.
I like to caution that, like, I show them, a couple of times first.
Yeah.
But there's not really a lot of like adjustments. Like there's not a lot of, we're not smelling and tasting and feeling. Like it's down. Like I went through all that the first week. That was about 2,000 pounds worth of dough that I learned all that for everybody else. So
it's very location dependent.
It is.
Because even if someone looks at that tablet that you just showed on the camera and like, all right, I'm just gonna steal that recipe.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're gonna use that recipe the one time and you're gonna be like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Because it's like I'm in Texas and it's totally different here.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's not as easy. And so, but I think once you get it down, it's very easy to manage after that.
Is that the hardest part about opening a new Blue Square?
Well, it was the hardest part for opening this one, I would say, aside from the electrical issues we had, Hopkinton, I got lucky. I went in there like first day, like I never used a commercial mixer in my life. I opened on a Friday. I mixed on a Tuesday for friends and family on Thursday. So I did like a batch. It came out great. And then I mixed Wednesday for Friday, came out great. Never had like any like major challenges like with the dough at all.
Why not use yeast?
When I was researching and studying and seeing kind of like what's like ahead, you know, what's the change curve doing in the industry? What are people like doing now that's kind of like having adding value to the product? And I of course studied the guy, you know, some guys out west. And I just felt like, you know, I heard this term often, like Mike from Rose Hill Sourdough was saying, if you want 1% pizza, you have to do sourdough.
1% pizza being 1% of the best
top
pizza.
Top 1% of the best. And he's like, you can't really get there without it. And that's an arguable statement, right? I mean, I would say, you know, it depends what you're after. You know, I think complexity and depth of flavor is something that you get with sourdough that is harder to achieve with yeast because it's a monopelch, it's like one strain, whereas like a sourdough has multiple strains of wild yeast. So there's just more, I think there's more depth to it is a way to explain it, but I don't think it's I also use mine really early in the fermentation cycle so that you don't get that lactic acid kind of taste. I think putting like acidic tomato sauce on like an acidic dough product probably doesn't complement each other very well. So I'm very careful in our fermentation process. So I have I have this pH kit, and this is kind of what helped me guide my direction, like finding my fermentation and where we are. This is like trying to figure out my pH levels and what's optimal, right? And so I know I want to be like 3.9 to 4.1. If it's less than that, it's like you're gonna get that like lactic acid flavor. So
is that just with time?
Yeah, it's time. It's all time, but temperature obviously. If you're too hot, you know, you see the time, the duration of time is shortened. So you just have to figure out what the balance is for the flavor profile you're looking for. Me, I like it more floral and creamy rather than kind of acidic. Like you think of that San Francisco sourdough loaf, right? Yeah. That's not what I wanted at all for pizza. But I love that loaf. I love a great sourdough. But I just think like acidic sauce on acidic dough just doesn't go well together.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I think, so that's kind of long roundabout way of answering your question. That's why I went with sourdough, is because I was just kind of under the impression that he kind of get a little more out of it with depth of flavor, and I feel like I feel like there's some truth to that. He's gonna liquefy this before he puts the flour in, and what that does is just gonna allow that starter to absorb immediately, rather than having to spend 3 or 4 minutes mixing it into the batch.
It won't be, because it'll be too tough, you mean?
So what if I do flour and water first, and say I let it rest an hour, which I typically would for an autolyse, and then I'm gonna dump the starter on top of the flour and water that's been pre-mixed, right? When I turn that mixer on, it's like 4 or 5 minutes to incorporate that before I can go in with my salt. So it's just like, it's just mixing way longer than I would like. Yeah. So this is a 9-minute mix.
That's not long. That's not that bad.
Yeah. So we'll go 5 minutes on speed 1 and 4 minutes on speed 2. He'll put his flour in. He'll do the first mix is for 3 minutes. So we're gonna just do a low speed 3-minute mix just to allow the water and flour to absorb.
Okay, cool. That's a little bit.
Yeah, it's getting there.
I like it.
It's getting there. We're gonna probably have to screen that one. First bake of the day, our first couple is a little bit on the bottom.
So you would get these again, Pizza Master again, if you had to do it all over again?
Yeah, I think electric ovens in general. I would. So I had a great experience with Pizza Master. Obviously, we had a slew of electrical issues that was more grid related.
The electricity coming into the building.
Yeah, electricity coming in the building. So even though we spec'd out 400 amps, 3-phase, and these are 208 volt 3-phase ovens, they weren't working properly when we first tried to open. So I'd open, get into the evening volume, and then these things just weren't baking properly. Just weren't baking at all. I'd have to close, you know. Oven techs would be in the next day. They'd make some adjustments. You're good to go. Yeah. And then we get into volume again. It's like, shit, and I'd have to close again.
That sucks.
Yeah, it was just really frustrating. So first week was like oven techs in here and electricians like confirming work. I hired a third-party electrician to come in to confirm everybody else's work, just to kind of rule that out. And that got ruled out, and then National Grid was called in They had to double the line size. They wanted to try that first. That improved the performance, didn't solve the problem though. And then
would it just go down, or would it just cut
yeah,
off?
so we were losing voltage. So these are 208 volts, and there's some acceptable volt droppage.
Yeah.
That, like 4 or 5 volts is okay, but we were going down to like 190, 192.
Wow.
And so they just couldn't reheat. First couple of bakes were fine, and then just once they start working, it's like I'm just losing temps. So very frustrating. We got it worked out. So this past week was our first week where we were really cranking.
It's crazy. It's cranking. It's a Tuesday morning. If you watch this, it's a Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
So you're already kind of starting out pretty good on this Tuesday morning here.
Yeah.
Do you deliver here?
Yeah.
Your own delivery drivers?
No, I dispatch Toast.
Okay.
Not Toast. DoorDash through Toast.
Yeah.
So they have a delivery arm that I can take my own delivery orders through the phone or website, and then for like $7.99 fee, DoorDash driver comes in.
What's the percentage of delivery to takeout here? Because you don't have any seating.
Yeah, no, it's not a lot. It's obviously everything's takeout, but delivery is probably 5% right now, 7%.
So it's all takeout?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's even better. You make the pizzas here, and I can see him coming, taking them out of the oven.
Yeah, so this is a downstream production system. So this is when I studied in business school, the Japanese were great at efficiency, and they had this concept called muda, which is waste. And it translates for their production system, which was mainly focused on the automobile industry at the time. Waste was movement, so if you have to cross, or if you have to walk a pizza over to set it down for someone to cut it up, that's waste and movement. So this is all rotation. So we build up pizzas, we rotate, we load. Okay, we're gonna take a pizza out, we rotate, we set it here. This guy just turns around, rotates this way, grabs it, drops it, depans it. We're gonna rest it on the screen over there. Everything gets rested over here. And then he's just gonna rotate around, and then he's gonna rotate that. Make sure you close that box, okay, buddy? He's just gonna rotate that to the front, and counter person is just gonna rotate and put it over on there. So there's no movement here. It's just pivots and rotations.
So every spot that you do moving forward will kind of look like this.
This is it. It's gonna get stamped out just like this.
No Dine-In?
No.
Yeah.
No. I don't think you need it.
I agree.
At least here, I think there's a need for. If you look at
for what you want to do, you don't need it.
No. I think there's definitely an opportunity for that for sure. I think the return on value is in this format. To be quite honest with you.
I agree.
I've had opportunities to move my Hopkinton location into a full service setting. I did the math, and I would have had to double my sale. I'm gonna do $3 million over there this year.
Wow.
I would have had to at that time I was doing 2.5. I would have had to do $5 million to break even on the same profit margin, moving it over there in a nice, beautiful, built-out dining room. It was already done. It would have cost me nothing to get in, and everyone's like, "Oh, dude, that's gonna be awesome." I'm like, "Yeah, but it's not gonna be profitable."
Yeah.
It's profitable. Why would I do that? It just does. So I'm very scientific, and I take the emotional component out of it when I do these.
You just go by the numbers. The numbers don't lie.
I have to. And it's the same thing with the production system. It's I go in, I look at a spot, and I just take one look at it. I'm like, yes or no, and I walk out. It doesn't matter. It could be in the busiest area in the city where you're guaranteed lines out the door. If I can't have my production system, I won't do it.
It's funny you say that, because I've been doing a lot of research. I might open a pizza spot.
Oh, nice.
In the future, maybe. She's not gonna let me, but I might. But it's gonna be down south. And so I've been doing a ton of research on concepts and styles and profitability and which ones are more profitable. And I have a pretty decent sized network of pizza people from doing content forever. And I've come to the conclusion that the bigger your restaurant and the more items you have on your menu, the less profitable you are.
Yeah.
It just comes with the territory.
Yep.
And if you look at the most profitable pizzerias, they're small. They don't have dine-in, no wait staff.
Yeah.
They do takeout delivery mostly, if not all. And they have pizza and maybe salads and a side item or two.
Right.
And those are the most profitable ones.
Yeah.
And then you just, the job you have as the owner is to try to, all right, if I have, say, 4 people working, I can do 400 pizzas. I just got to get to that point.
Right.
If you're doing 150, it's not enough, but you just got to get to the point where those 4 people can max out the production that they can do, and that's the most profitable one.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense.
That's what you're doing here.
If you want to check out Blue Square Pizza, we will link up all of their locations both in the description below this video. Don't forget to hit subscribe, hit like, and leave a comment where you're watching this video from. We always like to see where people are watching these videos from. If you have a pizzeria, drop the name of it. Maybe we'll add your pizzeria to the list of visits if we come into your city soon. We are visiting lots of cities over the next 6 to 12 months. So maybe yours will be a pizzeria we stop in and create a video with. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you right back here next week, everybody.